Look at that. The governor wants to have a I wouldn't mind owning a hand. My dad's like, you're gonna play the hell out of this. Let's do it. I think it was well intended. I think mostly. I don't even know how far. Something like that. This is a little weird. It is a little weird. I think someone's trying to buy you off with literacy. Oh God, I'm sorry. Maybe they'll give me a free ride. It's free ride. They said this was 10 county off. I got one. You got one. John's not cool. What? Yeah, sucks to be you, man. I got one. No, they got stuff from Henry Virginia. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not gonna. Yeah. No. How do you want to sell us something for long? I need some 380. I've been out of 380 now. You're all set. My other rifle, all I have is rifle. I'm gonna carry my case here. You see that? What's that? I go, you know, that's my favorite. What am I gonna do? Carry my hair? I got my, I have a you never know there's a shortage out there.
Good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year to those watching at home and in our audience. Welcome to the first county board meeting of 2021, the January county board meeting. First up will be invocation by Supervisor Niles, second motion, then followed by the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Everybody please rise.
Heavenly Father, we ask you for your support and guidance as we enter this new year. Watch over us here tonight as we do the people's work, and watch over the new administration as it prepares to lead our nation. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Niles. Roll call is going around. We have 22 members present. Supervisors Hanson, Nichols, and Hagan are excused this evening, but we do have a quorum. Next up, consideration and correction, if any, of our minutes from our December 15, 2020 board meeting. Motion by Supervisor Benke, seconded by Supervisor Ballman to approve those minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. No additions or deletions to the agenda. On the reports, we have County Executive Bob Zigabor, extension of the declaration of emergency. Bob, did you want to speak on that? I'm sorry, should I ask you before the meeting? I apologize for that. Yes, that's fine.
Testing 1, 2, thanks. Basically, this is the 5th renewal of the declaration of emergency. It hasn't changed any since we first passed it in March last year. It's just a renewal for 60 days, and that is the standard procedure for renewing the declaration in declaration of emergency. And that's basically a simple renewal. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Bob. Does anybody have any questions for Bob at this time? And as he mentioned, we'll be bringing back the resolution to extend it towards the end of the meeting. Thank you very much, Bob. All right, next up is public comment. If there's anybody from the public wishing to speak to any matter germane to Manitowoc County government, please raise your hand and you'll be allowed approximately 3 minutes to speak. I'll give your name and address. If you want to come up to the podium, that'd be great. Yes. Go ahead and check if the mic is on. Let's see. I'm not sure how you know how to turn it on. It sounds like it's on. It's Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Tiffany Spring, my address is 12505 Melnick Road, Whitewell, Wisconsin, 54247. First off, I just want to thank you all for your service to our county as supervisors on the board. I'm coming to you to address the following concerns I have in relation to the coronavirus pandemic. Those being certain taxpayer establishments aren't open, and secondly, the mental health of our county. Forgive me if these issues are beyond your control, I'm new to this. So we just gotta start somewhere. The library is being funded and it provides services that no other place can. The internet, the ability to print pages you may need for school projects or job interviews, story time for children, the list goes on, and their services are necessary, and for them to remain closed, to me, is unacceptable. It is not the library's job to keep me or my family safe. Their doors should remain open. Where I live, the internet is not the greatest, and not only that, but I prefer to limit my children's screen time. So while I could put on a YouTube educational video, I can't always do that. So it's nice to be able to go to the library, check out books for my school curriculum because I homeschool. So to me and my children, the library is a huge source for me. And it's important to us that the libraries be open. Second, the schools in Manitowoc County going virtual. I believe this is a disservice to our children because I have a nephew who is in a public school district and he has learning disabilities, and he has had to go virtual 2 times where we live, and it has hindered his learning greatly. I think there are too many children in a classroom to do virtual learning, and most children do not concentrate on a screen for that long. There's also negative effects of screen time on school-age children worth mentioning, which we've seen to be ignoring in the name of safety and allowing them to stay connected to a screen for several hours a day. Not only that, but they need social interactions, and everybody needs social interactions, and that brings me to my last point, is the mental health and well-being of our citizens. There's certain places in Wisconsin that the suicide rate has gone up 100%. That's huge. And places like the libraries being closed, schools closed, extracurricular activities that are help and stay-at-home orders in place, people are suffering. I can say with confidence that these places need to be open and remain open as a safe place for people to go instead of turning to the alternatives. I guess I would just plead with you all to stand behind opening these places back up. And I mean this in no disrespect or, and I'm not taking the pandemic lightly. I just hope that that's not the way this is coming out. Anyway, Thank you all for listening to me, and thank you again for your service.
Thank you very much for your comments. I think you did fine. You did wonderful. So thank you again for your comments. Is there anybody else wishing to speak this evening? Anyone else wishing to speak? And for a third and final time, anybody else wishing to speak? See none? I'll declare public comment closed at this time. Communications are shown on the agenda. There is no unfinished business from last meeting, so we'll move on to appointments by the county executive. First up, Aging and Disability Board to appoint 2 members to fulfill the term expiring in April of 2022. And the recommendations are for Supervisor Kathy Wagner and Supervisor Charles Hagan. So a motion by Supervisor Falkowski, second by Supervisor Mink to approve those appointments. Any discussion on the motion? See none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. And one to the Ethics Board to appoint 1 member to succeed Tom Muschel for a 3-year term expiring February 28, 2024, and the recommendation is for Tom Muschel. Motion by Supervisor Vogt, second by Supervisor Niles to approve that appointment. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimously. Thank you very much for those approvals. We'll move on to committee reports. I know some of you won't have committee reports, but I'll just go through the list. We'll start with the Aging and Disability Board. Supervisor Wagner is the chair.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. The next meeting for ADRC will be February 23rd, 2021. It's changed to a later date because Kewaunee County has not appointed their citizen members. Decision will be made next week. The ADRC is working with the health department for the senior citizens and their COVID-19 vaccinations. The ADRC has also been working with the state on a flu campaign that runs through March, emphasizing that during this pandemic, how important it is to have a flu shot. That's the end of my report.
Any questions for Supervisor Wagner? Thank you very much. Board of Health, Supervisor Metzger is the chair.
We met January 14th. We got to meet the new nurse manager, Heather. The health office report with coronavirus was updated. The health department administered 500 vaccines. Each phase is about 6 weeks long. We are currently in 1A and we will be going 1B in February. The department has launched a COVID-19 vaccine page, which includes a page for individuals who sign up for notifications once they become eligible for the vaccine. For the communicable disease report, of course, the COVID-19 is the highest, and chlamydia cases were slightly lower than normal with 15 cases in December. For the nurse manager report, contact tracing has been reinstated. We're working with the state to assist with contact tracing while focusing internally on household contact tracing and disease investigation. WIC report, we had 934 participants, 560 families. Caseload is 1,067. We will meet again February 11th at 5 p.m. That is the end of my report.
Any questions for Supervisor Metzger? Thank you very much. Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, Supervisor Falkowski is our representative, one of our representatives there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have not a report for today, but we are tentatively scheduled for March 3rd as the next meeting. Thank you.
Any questions for Supervisor Falkowski? Thank you very much. I have nothing for the executive committee tonight. Expo Ice Center Board, Supervisor Kavanaugh is our representative there.
Expo Ice Center Board met Wednesday, January 13th. We had the election of officers. Jerry Venning was re-elected president. Dick Poland was re-elected vice president. We approved a contract with B&M Waste for the county fair. They will be doing a lot of extra sanitation because of the COVID. We discussed some of the capital projects that would be probably done for 2021, such as finishing the asphalt projects, some permanent fencing, and replacing the milk house compressor. They told us about some of the canceled events, bad news of course. The home show and Horse Around, which were both pretty large draws, are canceled, and, our next meeting will be Wednesday, February 10th. That concludes my report.
Any questions for Supervisor Kavanaugh? Thank you very much. Finance Committee, we have Vice Chair Supervisor Jamie Olick, who will be giving the report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Outside of the typical business of the Finance Committee, well, we met on January 11th. We considered a couple items. One is our current auditors are CLA, Clifton Larson Allen, and they're the new Shank, so they bought out Shank. And anyway, they proposed a year one $70,000 contract, and then in year two it would increase by 1%, then 8 pence, and then 0.5% in year 5. So it's a 3-year contract with 2-year option, i.e. up to 5. And anyway, we thought between the quality of what they're doing for the county, the rate itself, and the increases, which were not very significant, we approved that proposal. Along with that, we took a look at the resolution on your agenda tonight, which is resolution adopting residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan. Now, this is another one of those hoops you jump through for the CDBG closed program. And it's a policy that the county has been following more informally in the past as the county has participated in these types of grants. It's not up to the level of, hey, your county board needs to approve this particular language in this resolution type of deal. It's not anything that would be out of the ordinary as far as the language goes in the plan. We did also take a peek at the plan. JJ was kind enough to send us the actual plan, and there's nothing in there that was out of sorts, so to speak. So, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the resolution adopting residential anti-displacement relocation assistance plan.
So motion by Supervisor Olick, second by Supervisor Williams. Discussion on the resolution. Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimously.
And that's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Any questions for Supervisor Olick? Thank you very much. Highway Committee, Supervisor Benke is the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Highway met on June, which it was June?
Yes,
January,
it was June, yes.
January 12th. Number of items, driveway access requests we had. We talked about the mailbox policy and approved that as well. Kind of significant to the fact that we're avoiding winter. We had a highway department mutual aid, which talks about other counties when they run into, say they have a incident, a disaster incident, or their highway department gets COVID, and we have to kind of help out. So it's a group of counties getting together, looking for and putting some ground rules together as to how mutual aid would occur if that would, God forbid, ever happen. So I go to resolution ordinance number 2, ordinance repealing Manitowoc County Code. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
So motion by Supervisor Benke, seconded by Supervisor Marish. Discussion on the motion.
So this is just a housekeeping matter. The $150 definitely does not cover the cost of our staff people having to go out to do the measuring and the safety things that they look for, the drainage, the size culverts, and all the things that they have to do. It was just that the 75 was in part of the language, and it should have been the 150. So it's basically clearing up a misnumber that should have been 150. So.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimously.
Our next meeting will be probably, if we have a meeting, the meeting before the county board in February. That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Any questions for Supervisor Benke? Thank you very much. Human Services Board, Supervisor Henderson is the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No report tonight, just, remind everybody, January 28th, 4:45 is our next Human Services Board meeting at the Human Services Department. Thank you.
Any questions for Supervisor Henderson? Thank you very much. Personnel Committee, Supervisor Marsh has informed me they have no report, so we'll move on. Oh, I jumped to Land Conservation, I apologize. Let's go back to Land Conservation Committee, UA Extension, Education, and Agricultural Committee. Supervisor Wagner is the chair.
I don't know if this is working, oh, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Land Conservation meeting will be this Thursday at the county office complex at 4:45, or actually it will not be at the county office, it'll be a teleconference. And that's at 4:45 this Thursday. The UW Extension, Education, and Agriculture Committee will have their meeting February 18th, Thursday, and I'm assuming it will be teleconference also. But never assume, right? That's the end of my report.
Any questions for Supervisor Wagner? Thank you very much. Since I jumped the gun, we were going to talk about personnel, so we'll move forward. Planning and Park Commission, Supervisor Dysek is the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's no report. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 25th at the county office complex on Expo Drive. That's the end of my report.
Any questions for Supervisor Dysek? Thank you very much. There's no report from Public Safety tonight. Public Works Committee, Supervisor Carroll is the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Public Works Committee met Wednesday, January 13th, and I have a lengthy report as we did not have a meeting prior. We reviewed and discussed the Solid Waste and Recycling Division. John Reisenbeekler, the Operations Manager, reported on the markets. He also reported on our drug collections program for 2020. He gave a final report. It was very successful in spite of 2 collections being canceled due to the pandemic. John also reported on the tire collection program and gave a final report for 2020, as well as the Clean Sweep 2020 final report. Director Neuser commented or reported on the wonderful job John Reisenbeekler does as operations manager at the recycling center. And just so I don't forget, all the public works people, Cody Berg, Craig Bright, just do a fabulous job. You can all be so proud of these people for the job that they do for Manitowoc County. We reviewed and discussed the Building and Grounds Division. Craig Bright reported on all the capital projects that have been going on and those that have been completed. We had some capital pot projects and some bid results for a Heritage Center electric generator and some work at the jail inmate visitation area. We got a new contract with Cellcom. Even though the contract ended March 31st, they offered a 2-year extension with a one-time credit and a lower monthly rate. We approved that. There was a annual jail inspection report by the state, and the staff received very positive remarks from the state. It's just amazing on how much goes on at the jail and what all has to be dealt with, and the requirements and the codes and the maintenance. It's really quite remarkable. Craig Wright provided a preventative maintenance plan just regarding the mail, and if anybody wants to see that, it's available. It's extraordinary. We discussed and reviewed the communications division and potential projects there. We had the public safety radio update. Cody Berg gave us a report on the information system and all the capital projects and activities that are going on there. Facilities manager Janelle Shelton gave her report on what's going on out here at Expo and Air, and unless otherwise noted, we're all counting on having a county fair, so we hope that vaccinations are forthcoming and, that we can enjoy a fair again this year. Director Noiser, reported on the comptroller's, special revenue fund report, obviously because of the pandemic, we didn't have the best year, and it shows how important that fair is. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any questions for Supervisor Giroux? Thank you very much. I mean, I guess ditto, we're all praying that the fair, not to mention other things that will be happening this year, but the fair is not just vital to our finances, but it's a great situation, great programming for the Manitowoc County residents. So let's all pray that this will be able to be held this coming August. We're all there for it. So thank you very much. Next up, Transportation Coordinating Committee. Supervisor Ballman is our no report, he's telling me. Okay, thank you very much. Miscellaneous, here we have 2 resolutions. The first one is Resolution 2021-21, supporting increased state utility tax payments. Supervisor Engelbrecht, do you want to make a motion to approve first? So motion by Supervisor Engelbrecht, seconded by Supervisor Olick. Discussion, I'm gonna let Supervisor Engelbrecht speak. He is our county representative on the Wisconsin County Utility Tax Commission. They have been talking about this for several years, and one of the requests, and I'll let Lee talk first, and then I'll finish up.
Well, if you notice in the resolution, we're asking for a cost of living increase in the per payment per year. I can talk a little bit about my town as the host of the nuclear power plant. Wisconsin is kind of unique in this, where they're the only state in the union that takes any power plants off the tax roll. And all the other states, they're assessed in their tax, not in Wisconsin. And then they take whatever the money is that the utility pays in and goes into a fund and then is distributed back. Our town is capped out by population. And I think it's been increased once since the governor, Lucy, rewrote the formula back in the early 70s. And all we're asking for is to have it increased for the county, that we get a cost of living increase every year to make up the difference. Jim, I don't know if anybody has any questions or.
Does anybody have any questions for Supervisor Engelbrecht? Supervisor Dizak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm having a little trouble with the resolution based on a lack of information. Now, you did just now give a short synopsis that might have helped clear it up a little bit, but it's easy to ask for money, and I understand the need for it, but the unintended consequences tend to come out of these kinds of situations. If you raise the taxes on the utility, are they gonna raise rates? Is it gonna cost the taxpayer more money in the long run? Questions like that keep coming to my mind. And this is basically an open-ended question to the governor that just says, hey, we need more money from this. I don't know what kind of formula you would use. And again, it's just the unintended consequences that worry me about just having an open-ended statement that says we need some more of this money.
Well, and I can speak on my town's behalf because the land is off the tax roll. We get no tax money from that land, and we have prime lakeshore frontage. And probably over half of our town is not on the tax roll. That's along the lakeshore. So what we get in back from the utility tax does not cover that because we're capped out by population. We should be getting, our town should be getting $800,000 a year. We're getting $132,000. That's basically all we're getting because of that nuclear power plant there. And $50,000 of that is for the spent fuel that's in the water pool. So we're only getting $82,000 for for the utility tax for that power plant being there. Now, I don't know what the county's share is, and all we're really asking for is a cost of living increase. We're not asking for a gigantic amount of extra increase of money. It's just mainly to keep up with inflation. That's basically what we're trying to do.
The other question I guess comes to mind now, is this tax that you're talking about only for the nuclear plant?
No, it's
Or is it for
all generating, power plants, substations, the solar farm that's also in my town. That'll be under that also.
I'm still not, I don't know if I still have enough information to back it, because if this is statewide, and are other counties asking for the same thing?
Yes.
Do you have any examples of that?
Well, yes, I guess I can speak to it, because even though Lee is our representative on the Wisconsin County Tax Utility, Alice Conner, who's the executive director of the County Utility Tax Association, has been sending out resolutions and proclamations from other counties and municipalities across the state of Wisconsin. It's been an ask of everybody that's a member of the commission. So far, it's been unanimous that every county, municipality, village, town that as a member has done it. So we're just following suit as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Falkowski, you had your hand up? Oh. Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So motion passes 21-2 with Supervisor Zimmer and Dizak voting no. We will be sending that to the county's tax association after we sign by tomorrow. So thank you very much on that. Next up, resolution 2020-21, ratifying county executives January 5th, 2021 proclamation of continuing health emergency. Motion by Supervisor Aulick, second by Supervisor Benke. Discussion on the motion, Supervisor Dizak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I understand the need for the resolution. If we don't have an emergency directive, we cannot get our money from the state to reimburse our county for our expenses due to fight the COVID. However, we've been nearly a year now where we've been wearing masks, social distance, unable to go to sporting events like the Packer game, Brewer game, Bucks game. Can't go to festivals, no county fairs, no state fair, no family gatherings, and on and on and on and on and on. And guess what? The COVID has still been spreading. This proclamation is not to protect us from the threat. It is simply to allow the county to recoup money from the state. This will be the 6th proclamation to do this. And when you read it, it talks about an imminent danger. This is simply not true. This just seems to be what becoming the new normal, that we're going to be this way. I believe as elected leaders that we need to stand up and say enough is enough. And rejecting this resolution is just simply the first step. And we're standing up and saying, no, we need to put an end to this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and I think it'd be unanimous here that everybody would like to see the end of COVID as well, so. Any other discussion on the motion? Supervisor Metzger.
We don't have enough money in the health department to continue without getting extra money. And this is an emergency, and I had asked Stephanie if there's lead at the end of the tunnel, and she said yes. She said there's going to be some day when we're going to be without the masks again. We need this money to help cover for the extra people that we have on at the health department. There's no way the health department can do it on the budget that we passed in this budget book. There's just no way. We need to think more positive on this. We've started with the vaccinations. We can only do so much at a time. You know, I think that maybe you need to speak with Stephanie or go to one of our meetings and ask her some of the questions that you're concerned about. But I do really feel that we need this passed because it is still an emergency, you know, until further notice.
Thank you, Supervisor Metzger. Any other discussion? Supervisor Dizak.
I can appreciate that, and I understand that, but I don't believe this resolution is the right way to do it. There's other ways to obtain money from the state that are more honest, and the way I say it that way is because of the way that the proclamation is worded. I don't think that we're talking about a disaster, imminent danger. This is something that costs money to handle, and that's what we need. And we should say that instead of using a proclamation like this. And that to me is just the first step. There's other ways to obtain money from the state other than saying, well, we're getting some emergency. And that's kind of where I'm coming from and why I can't get behind it. I understand where you're coming from. Thank you.
Thank you Supervisor Dizak. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 22-1 with Supervisor Dizak voting no. Thank you very much on that as well. Announcements just quickly, and alluded to a little bit, Supervisor Benke. Next month, due to the primary that'll be happening on February 16th, we'll be moving the county board meeting to Tuesday, February 9th at 6:30 p.m. in here. I know it's a week early, but I don't want to have the clerk's office go have problems. I mean, they do a wonderful job. I'm sure they could handle it, even have the county board meeting night, but we're not going to do that to you. So. All right, if there's nothing else, let's have a motion to adjourn. Motion by Supervisor Joel, second by Supervisor Henderson to adjourn. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a safe trip home. It looks like we're getting a little snow out there. It's starting to actually stick, so take care.